Did it play a part? Yes. Does it still count? Abso-freaking-lutely.
Will there be an asterisk in our mind? Yes.
Hell no.
Yes, there will be.
Wow. The disrespect.
There will be.
You started your New Year's resolution lasted all about 4 minutes. Congratulations, Sonny. New Year, same Sonny.
It's always sunny on the West box score.
Thank you for downloading and listening to West Box Score. I'm Alex Gonzalez, joined once again by my two sports homies right here, Sonny the Model, Donald Paz. What's up, gentlemen?
Yo, what's going on, man?
Feliz Año Nuevo.
Yes, absolutely. Happy New Year. It's going to be a better year, right, everybody? Come on.
Yes.
Yeah, we're off and running in 2021, man.
It was a good 5 days, dude. We had a solid 5 days, kind of. It wasn't too bad. It was manageable. Then it all went it all went a throwback. It all went to the throwback of 2020 now.
Yeah.
It's too soon. It's too soon for a throwback this early. But, I mean, new year, new us, right?
Yes.
Right? New us.
Yes.
So, I mean, we're still right here repping Blue Wire Hustle. Make sure to follow Blue Wire Hustle on Twitter at Blue Wire Hustle. Also follow us on Twitter and Instagram at West Box Score. You know, Sonny's got his podcast, the Fox Crate Podcast, right there at the Fox Crate. Yeah, man, dude, I gotta say, man, big ups to the year-end special, man.
Yeah.
It was good times. It was good listen. It's got me back with the vinyl itch. Every time I listen to your podcast, man, it just gives me that itch again. And I had to drop some of that stimulus check over at the record store, man.
There
I
you
had
go.
to do it.
There you go. You see, like I say, we're just doing our public duty by, encouraging others to partake in this vinyl collecting game. And I was happy to see that, man. I was happy to see. I saw Donald post about how he came up on some records recently,
man.
and I was like, oh, dude, my heart was just warming like crazy, No, it was fun. It was fun to be back, dude. It was, again, we only did, I think, but like 5 episodes in 2020, but we made sure they all fucking counted. So yeah, thanks for tuning in and subscribing to that. And we will be coming in with a couple more episodes very soon. And there will be a couple guests that we will have that I think the listeners of this podcast will be very familiar with. So stay tuned for that.
This podcast tree is branching out, man. I love it. It's just comment all the guests from everywhere, man. A lot of crossovers, guest starring appearances all over the place, dude.
That's right.
It's fun times. So it's the new year. Sonny, Donald, do you guys got any New Year's resolutions? Donald, what are you gonna do more of or improve upon this year?
I do this every year, and every year I don't fully fulfill it, and that is my my weight loss. I always try to be healthier, fitter. I always tell myself I want to have like a shirtless summer, but we
still can be.
We try. And that's going to be one of my goals. It's a very vain goal, but it's my goal.
Alex had a shirtless January. I thought I seen you out there wilding in Washington with, was that you? I thought that was you.
That was a guy who looked strongly like me, but it was not me. That was my doppelganger.
Okay.
It was not me. I swear to you, it wasn't. I mean, as much as I am crazy and I love a wild good time, that was a little bit too wild for my taste right there. I'm not like, you guys are too wild for me.
You draw the line at an insurrection.
Yeah, I draw the line at a coup, man. That's where I'm like, okay, you guys are. I'm good. Back up. Homer Simpson, back into the bushes. There, I'm good. You guys do you. But it's funny, Donald, how you say how we always have this fitness goal in mind. We actually had this fitness goal in mind together, all three of us, at our day jobs when we tried to get a fitness challenge together. And I mean, it was fun for a while until somebody got a little bit creative with the points system there. I mean, no good deed goes unpunished, right, guys? We put this together to encourage all of us to be more active. What was the system again, Sonny? Was it 1 point per mile that you exercise, that you run or jog or hike?
I don't remember exactly what the breakdown was, but I remember the algorithm was like complex enough. Where it tried to level the playing field when we designed it. And it was like, you got 1 point for
30 minutes running.
Mile Yeah, 30-minute
Yeah.
running, but not all points were the same, because if your ass just went for a walk, it shouldn't, or was on the treadmill,
Uh-huh.
the steps and all of that shouldn't count the same as somebody who, went for an actual
Mhm.
run,
Right.
or maybe at the time,
Well,
it seems like long ago, those of us who were able to go and play actual like a soccer
Sports,
game
yeah.
or a basketball game. So yeah, it was a pretty complex system that was designed to promote just general overall health
Yeah.
and allow us to all, get it done with a little carrot dangling at the end, a little prize, money here or there.
Cash money is a good
Correct.
motivator.
And of course, anytime you put that out there, there will be some folks who will do whatever it takes to circumvent the system. So I think Alex put like his tracker on his dog before the dog bit him. And
That's right. Maybe that's why he bit me, because I was trying to put the tracker on him. That makes sense now. No, but I think what a lot of it was too is it was you had to go outside and go log your miles, rather running or
Right.
hiking, or even on the treadmill was counted as a mile too. But that's where a lot of people were conflicted that those miles shouldn't count the same as actual going outside, which we kind of agree with. But hey, you're making the effort. But where people took advantage of, where I felt, or people also wanted us to count steps going up and down stairs.
Right.
At our day job. It's like, well, you're not making the effort to go do an exercise. Mind you, you are. But then they would argue, well, I'm being active. I'm walking and taking the stairs instead of the elevator. And it's just like, no, you're missing the point of going to go be active. But where it really went off the rails with one of our colleagues going for walks at all hours of the night and going on walks in the mall. Going in walks in the mall.
To the mall.
Specifically in the mall. And when you're indoors, your GPS does this weird thing where it doesn't know where you are. So it just kind of calculates more steps and more mileage. And that's kind of what he was doing. That's where I feel like he went a little bit off the rails.
Yeah.
And
Don't forget the elliptical.
And then the elliptical. Well, I had to fight him back with the elliptical.
You and him were on elliptical battling. Like it was insane.
Elliptical battling. That's right.
Yeah.
I mean, and then he couldn't believe I did so many miles on the elliptical. And it's, well, because I was going like a madman on the elliptical. That's the only way to get as many miles within the hour. At one point, I remember doing 2 hours on the elliptical, and I nearly died. Like no joke. Coming down off the elliptical, my legs were like spaghetti, and I was so dead tired I could not eat. I'm like, I am too freaking. My body wants to shut down.
That's when we found out you had COVID the first time.
That was before it was actually COVID. I mean, that might have been the first case back in. This is March.
Yep.
So yeah, it might have been.
Yeah, I remember.
Body shutdown is not a good thing.
I want to say I remember when we logged in. I think the weight loss that first week. I think you, Alex, had dropped the most significant weight, and that's when I realized it was on between you and our other colleague. And I was like, oh man, this is kind of like when you draw first blood, and then you guys were just going at it, man. And I think that's the funniest part. That's the funniest takeaway from the whole thing, is just seeing you and him go at it at 1 and 2, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. And I'm like, man. Yeah. And we're all just watching.
And I love how he was so freaked out over my weight loss. And the only reason it was such a big weight loss is because keto. I was on the keto diet at the time. And keto diet automatically, your first 10 days to 2 weeks, you'll drop all your water weight. And so it'll be like 10 pounds, boom, right off the bat. So, I mean, that wasn't an unfair advantage, if you will. But the other way, this guy was so nuts toward the end, he wanted to gain points. He's like, I'm going to look into this keto diet. I'm going to start doing this too. I'm like, dude, you don't have much discipline, man. And that's the one thing the keto diet is. It's boring, but it's very disciplined regimen. It's you got to have it.
Did you guys add on any quarantine 15?
Oh my God.
I want to say, yeah.
20 or so, man.
Oh, really?
I got the COVID-19.
The COVID-19.
We know about how you got the virus. I'm asking, did you put on any weight?
Oh, for sure, man. I know I have. How about you guys?
I want to say yes, but then I could be wrong. I probably am maintaining. But I want to say yeah. I mean, I definitely haven't been as active as I would want to be, for sure. Which is the thing I want to change for sure this year. Even though I keep telling myself that every year, but I want to do it. So yeah.
I absolutely added weight. I think like 6 pounds, 7 pounds of body fat and 2 pounds of hair fat. So I think I'm up 9. I think I'm up 9 pounds right now since this quarantine started. So,
I don't think
that's
hair
not how it works.
fat.
That's not how it works.
I think it's hair weight, but yeah,
Yeah.
hair fats. You want to call it for sure.
You should see how I wake up in the morning, man. The thing gets fat.
Oh damn, for sure. I know all about it, bro.
No,
Just
so
poof.
yeah, I've unfortunately for me, I have yet to like crack the code. And it's funny, my wife and I were just talking about this today, about how today was going to be our last supper, like our last, like that's it. We're getting started mañana, you know, because ever since the quarantine started, like I haven't replaced my soccer, basketball,
Right.
and all those weekly things that I was able to do back then. I haven't replaced any of it, you know.
Right.
And at work, as you mentioned, at our day job, there used to be frequent walks, you know, during a break here or there. That's not even happening really anymore.
No.
So I got to find, you know, a routine for 2021 that's going to allow me to supplement, as like Donald said, just to kind of figure it out. And yeah, man, let's do it. Let's do it.
Well, I think we got to push a challenge between us three and maybe some of the West Box Score listeners who are willing to join us here on Twitter.
Yeah.
Like, what can we put together for all of us to, you know, hold each other accountable? 'Cause that's what it comes down to, is accountability. That's what makes us be more active. And I think the hardest part right now during the pandemic as being active, right? Going outdoors. We can't do that as much. So I think the key really to everything is strict diet. Like that's why you lose weight on keto so fast, because your diet is so strict. And you also got to watch calories and all that terrible, fun, good stuff. But at the end of the day, it's good for you because you're weight managing at that point. So if any of our listeners or you guys too are down for a West Box Score weight loss active challenge, I think Sonny has a Google sheet we can send out to anybody who's willing to go out there and do it again with that complicated formula that he put together.
That's right.
Twitter, I'm down.
Twitter and Parler ain't got shit on me. They won't shut me down.
No, these are not threats. These are calls to action, to be active. That's what these are calls for.
That's right.
So you can't shut that down, man. So,
yep.
But speaking of calls to action, you know who got called to action this week? The LA Rams. Man, were they in action. Damn, they looked good. I could not clap it up. Clap it up for me. Clap it up for these LA Rams.
Here. In spirit of the new year and us trying to just be better individuals.
Nice.
I feel
way to go, Donald.
I feel like I owe you an apology, Alex. Much of 2020, I would come on this podcast and I would accuse the Rams
and there goes the resolution.
Wait, sorry, wait. Whoa. Come on, we're all human. We make mistakes. I would accuse the LA Rams of being, I think the word I used a lot was fraudulent. And only to find out that the frauds all along were the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks were the most fraudulent team.
Yeah.
I can't believe this, but please enjoy.
I wouldn't say they're fraudulent either. I mean, yeah, you're right. Maybe the Seahawks are fraudulent, but even when you would go back to calling the Rams fraudulent, I would always argue that they weren't. They were just consistently inconsistent, and this is again their MO. What Rams team is going to show up today? And at the beginning of the game, you could tell, like, oh, okay, this defensive line is there. They're getting to Wilson. They're putting a lot of pressure on him, making him make bad passes. And I was so happy that they started Wolford to start the game. And man, he only had 2. He made it up to the second series before he went out with a scary neck injury, man. Away, you knew something was up when he slid, trying to slide it for that first down. And he was, he just goes to the chin straps right away. Like, oh, something's not right. Something is not right. So, I mean, all of us Rams fans were gasping like, oh no. And then here comes Goff. And it's like, Goff, man, 2 weeks ago, you broke your thumb. You had to have surgery. And we always thought the problem was more between your ears than it was on your right hand. And it's like, God damn, all right, well, let's go. What are we going to do? What are we going to see here out of him? And he didn't have a bad game. He didn't, and it's just, when you go 9 for 19, man, that's your starting QB line. It's just the offense is still not right. Thank God we have Cam the Ram Akers. Goddamn rookie of the year coming candidate right here with 28 carries, 131 yards, dude. Big touchdown. And he was just on and popping.
Rookie of the year candidate. Who
else is out there?
Wait a minute. Time out. He only woke up in week 14. You act like you've been.
That's a rookie of the year candidate. Who else is out there? You're gonna give it to the QB in Miami? Who are you gonna give it to? Oh wait, wait a minute. Goddamn Josh Allen.
Herbert deserves it a whole lot more than Cam Akers does.
I forgot about the other guy in LA.
See, here you go. Here we go.
I retract. 2021. As I'm being better this year myself.
You start with your mamadas again.
Hey, tranquilo.
Damn. So hard to lose weight and be better.
It's hard to be on this diet and be nice.
Damn it.
But no, Cam Akers, rookie of the year for the Rams. Can I at least give him the rookie of the year for the Rams?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, man.
But man, these both lines, offensive, defensively, looked strong. So I don't know what Rams team is going to show up next week in Green Bay. But I mean, like I said, like you were saying earlier, as a Rams fan, I'm just enjoying this week. Was not even expecting them to win in Seattle, who were 8-0 at home under the Pete Carroll, Russell Wilson era, and that O had to go, and it was because of the LA Rams.
Are you really gonna count? Come on, are you really gonna count this as a road victory?
What? Oh, because of the fans.
We know that the Seahawks are 8-0 because of the 12th man.
The 12th man wasn't there.
Okay, all right. I'm just Donald, back me up. Is it the same? Is it the same kind of victory here or not?
You are those fans putting an asterisk.
Gloating.
If you put an asterisk on this road win, put one on the Lakers championship too. Then there was no.
I agree, because the Lakers championship was harder than it should have been. So they deserve.
Then the Rams road win should be harder as well because of COVID protocols.
Road win any harder with no road fans? This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Okay.
You're the one making this argument that it's not the same.
No, you said that if by equivalence that we should be putting an asterisk on the Lakers. Then the Lakers was actually
because
naturally
you're the one
harder.
giving them.
No, it's naturally harder what the Lakers accomplished in the bubble. Okay, not being able to be at home for X amount of months, not having they would have been the number 1 seed, so they would have had the home crowd advantage, right? Instead, it was taken from them, and they still won the title. Whereas in this example, the Rams faced a Seahawks team, again, as fraudulent as they may have been, without their 12th man. So their 12th man would have equivalent for 10, 11 points here to get them the win. Are you telling me you just finished saying Goff is known to not have it between the ears? Right. Imagine the 12th man making it that much harder for that dude to process the thoughts himself, and get and do the damn thing. I'm sure there's 2 interceptions alone responsible for the 12th man against Jared Goff. So let's not act like, this 8-0 Seahawks team that has been undefeated in the playoffs because of their 12th man or with the help of their 12th man. Suddenly it's like, we ended that shit. Get out of here, man. Come on. Wow. Sour grapes from a divisional rival here. I would not have expected that. It's because I'm a divisional rival that I need you to get it right. Because... put some respect on that. They're on the Seahawks. On that fraudulent Seahawks team. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. I hate that team, but let's not act like that 12th man not being there was like suddenly like no big deal. Did it play a part? Yes. Does it still count? Abso-freaking-lutely. Will there be an asterisk in our mind? Yes. Hell no. Yes, there will be. Wow. The disrespect. There will be. You started, your New Year's resolution lasted all about 4 minutes. Congratulations, Sonny. New Year, same Sonny. It's always sunny on the West box score. Yeah.
Donald, Donald, be the voice of reason here. What did you think of this Rams Seahawks game?
I mean, credit to the defensive coordinator, man. Brandon Staley definitely showed what he could do. I kind of felt before the game started that if the Rams were going to win, it was going to be because of the defense, and that pick six swung the game, and it was insane seeing it happen. But at the same time, I think just for the Rams' sake, and I know we're talking about the Rams like they're the underdog, obviously because Seattle did win the NFC West title, so obviously it looks bad for them that they got eliminated after winning the division. But the fact of the matter is that, like, I think for the Rams' sake, I think this was their best shot at advancing to playoffs, is to play the Seattle Seahawks again. So I think that it was just, I guess in a way, it was meant to be for the Rams to have to play Seattle, even though I personally felt like, again, third time they're gonna play like this team, like it's insane. Like, I don't want to see this matchup, but if you're trying to win, obviously you gotta go with whatever team you're gonna be able to beat. So I don't know. Yeah.
One last thought. Okay, we've always maintained here on this podcast that divisional matchups are always a toss-up. And it's the reason why, if you look at what has transpired this weekend, the two, I guess, most shocking results. I don't know if you count the Ravens ones as a shocking. That felt more like a toss-up, 4 versus 5. But the two outside of that, the two most shocking was the Rams going up to Seattle, the first place Seattle Seahawks, and getting that W with technically starting their second string quarterback, but then coming in with their injured first string. Like, nobody would have predicted that. And then secondly, what the Browns are fucking doing to the Steelers right now.
That's unbelievable.
But is it? Because again, these are two divisional matchups. So
but the Browns had to beat the Steelers last week to get into the playoffs, rather.
But again,
and now
this is
do
my
that
point.
Twice in two weeks in a row, divisional rivals aside, but to do it 2 weeks in a row, that's impressive.
It is impressive, but it's still, this is what happens when you face that same team multiple times, not over just one season. We're talking about over the course of 2 years. You faced them now, 4 times, now in this case 5 times for both respective matchups. So that's why I try not to get too carried away, with what took place. What happens next week now it's on, Rams against the number 1 seed, who I also think are a little bit fraudulent, the Green Bay Packers. That's going to be a more compelling matchup. I hope Aaron Donald's healthy enough to give it his go, because I'd love to see that matchup. The Rams number 1 defense versus probably top 3 offense in the NFC. And then the same thing here now that the Browns are about to take care of business, I think, unless they just blow this in the next, quarter or so. I want to see how they fare in the next round. It's like, let's find out how much of it was that it was you knew your opponent, you were very familiar with your opponent, or how much of it was it didn't matter who your opponent was going to be because you're that team right now. We're going to find out.
Let's see what happens with this Rams team, because after that Jets loss, they seem to have lost all confidence in themselves. They were already consistently inconsistent. Now, no confidence. They looked bad. They've looked bad going into the playoffs. It kind of looked around that halftime, their second quarter, when they started to kind of take a bigger lead in the game. Some confidence came back for that Rams team, but now, with the injuries there to possibly Aaron Donald's ribs, and now Cooper Kupp's ankle, we don't know what kind of team. And then the quarterback issue, like if Wolford is able to go, because he got checked out, he was already back with the team before the end of the game from the hospital. He was celebrating with the team in the locker room. So if he's healthy enough to go, do you start him or do you start Goff? That's a real decision McVay's got to make. I almost feel like I would let Wolford start. I mean, I would. And see what happens, and maybe if it gets a little hairy there, a little bit close, or your game's getting away from you, you bring in Goff. I don't know. What do you think? What would you do, Donald?
Yeah, I would go with the same game plan. I mean, ideally, it feels like this Rams team is going to be relying a lot on the run game and their defense to keep them in, and that's just the reality based off the roster that they have. Is you have to feed the ball Akers for as much as you can, And obviously, the only bummer is that if he does get hurt or something, now you have to figure out your rotation after that. And then your defense just has to step up. I mean, another big part of this Rams win was Jalen Ramsey, pretty much guarding DK Metcalf. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And not allowing Metcalf to have the kind of games that he has. So you're going to need Ramsey to step up in the secondary and just make it hard for Aaron Rodgers to throw the ball, and just, dare him to throw the ball. And hopefully, I mean, if another pick six comes at it, it could swing the game. But who knows? It is interesting seeing, what this Rams team's going to do if they become that dominant, like, defensive team that, like, basically wins, kind of like helps the rest of the squad advance just based off defense alone. But it's happened before, right? Other teams have done that, so.
No, not recent.
Good luck. The last team that I remember doing that, well, I guess was the Ravens when they did it to us.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say that
Flacco.
right now. Yeah.
But Joe Flacco was more a quarterback than what the Rams.
Joe Flacco was just healthy.
Well, that too, but he also, I think if you gave me a choice of 2012 version Joe Flacco or 2020 version Jared Goff, I'd take 2012, version of Flacco any day. So, am I saying it can't be done? No, that's not what I'm saying. Am I going to bet my money on it? No. There's too much potent firepower out there that I think this defense is going to need its offense to keep up with at times. So we'll see. Speaking of which,
at least on field goals.
The Browns are about to. I might have just put the jinx on them because they're less than 2 touchdowns up now. I think they're only up 13 or 12 points now,
35,
with a whole
23.
quarter left to play. So we'll see.
Division rival games, you never know what could happen.
You never know. Exactly.
The Sunny curse. Oh man, but let's see what happens. Green Bay, the Rams go to Green Bay on Saturday at 1:35 p.m. on Fox. I mean, Jesus, I don't expect them to win. I'm hoping they're going to win, but we'll see what kind of game plan comes out. As you were saying, Donald, they got to run that ball. Hopefully that defense shows up. And let's just enjoy it. The 2021, the year of enjoyment. No matter what happens, win or lose.
Is that what it is?
Let's all enjoy.
Did you enjoy January? What was it? 5th or January?
From LA, I did. Not being in Washington D.C.
Why was Alex sending me popcorn memes while that shit was going on? It's like, damn, you're cold. You're cold.
All right, moving on. NBA action. Speaking of our NBA world champion Los Angeles Lakers, they're currently the best team in the NBA after tonight's win over Houston. Officially now 8-3, sole possession of the best team of 2021, on the road to repeat. What have you been seeing in this Laker team so far early on? What is that? Only 11 games so far. Sonny, what are your thoughts of these LA Lakers?
First of all, I don't appreciate your tone earlier. Don't think I have amnesia, how you tried to drag my Lakers into this.
I was trying to make you understand why the Rams win matters.
Any true Laker fan would have understood the difference between those two and how the Lakers deserve, like Rob Pelinka said, they deserved a star, right, next to the title, not necessarily an asterisk. Okay, Pat Riley, so calm down.
In the terms of Clipper Pablo, typical Laker fan.
Shout out to Pablo. Yeah, no, man, it's been a good start thus far. Mm-hmm. I mean, with the shit show that is now the NBA, right? They had this perfect bubble in the summer, but we all knew that this wasn't going to be the case for this new season, and now there's games that are being postponed already, teams that are having to play with 7 players, like the Philadelphia 76ers the other night. With all that said, Lakers are still proving to be the team that we all thought they would be, even early on, and that's the best team in the league. And it's been fun watching it feels like very much a new team just by the pieces that we've added. So it's been fun watching those new pieces kind of gel and seeing it happen like game by game, where it's like, oh man, these dudes are starting to click. Now that we got Caruso back, because he was out, I think, due to COVID or COVID protocols. And so now, and then we got KCP. Luckily, we got him back from that scary injury a week ago. And yeah, knock on wood, the team as of now is pretty healthy. So it's been fun to kind of see them grow, and I think it's only going to pay off down the line because they look good, man. They look like when they play defense and they get into transition, like ain't nobody stopping the leg show, dude. So it's been fun to watch. What do you think, Donald?
Yeah, same thing. I think that like it's interesting to see that at overall you have AD and LeBron, and that's your foundation. And as long as those guys are healthy, then you just get the right pieces around you. And credit to Rock Pelinka, he definitely did a good job of upgrading the team. I know in the beginning it was a little like shaky just because we saw the new pieces get added and we just saw how they were going to gel. But now I feel like they have a flow. And I think the only time they've ever lost games is mostly usually just because like they played that team like twice in a row or something like that. And I realize like it's just what happens when you play the same team again. Like the second time around, it's always tough because like the team knows you now. So, but other than that, man, they're still strong in the West. They still look good. It's fun seeing them. Like you said, I like seeing how the new guys gel in. I like seeing how like Taylor Horton-Tucker's like contributing now. Like he's a big piece of like the secondary coming in. I know Kuzma filled in pretty well while KCP was out. So, I mean, it's just cool seeing the team just kind of continue going where they were at last year. And just kind of, as long as they keep the pace, then they should be in good hands. And just as long as you make it to the playoffs, then you should be good. So, yeah, man, really not too crazy surprised that they're doing as well as they're doing.
Before their win tonight, they were in second place in the West. And that's because the Phoenix Suns were I guess based on win percentages and games played, were in first place. So how good is this Phoenix Suns team that the Lakers didn't get a chance to play well in the bubble?
Well, this is a different Phoenix Suns team, man. Now that they've added CP3, although in that bubble, I think they went undefeated down the stretch, and they just missed out. So they definitely had that momentum, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. But anytime you add somebody like Chris Paul to a young team, it's going to pay dividends, man. That guy's just literally the definition of a floor general. And he's feisty. I love the energy he gave Paul George the other night and the Clippers with that whole melee. It was fun to watch from afar. That was a popcorn meme for sure. That Phoenix team is wily. They are a potential, problem, I think, but it's still too soon to tell. They're also still figuring it out. They're still gelling. I like our matchup. I like our experience, but it is fun to see the Phoenix Suns good again.
As you mentioned, you like their matchup against the Phoenix Suns, the Lakers matchup against the Phoenix Suns. How about our neighbors across the hallway? How do you like that matchup right now, as the Clippers are not doing too bad themselves and they were involved in that melee? But how are they? What have you seen from them so far, Donald, that makes you think they're contenders or pretenders?
Well, the Clippers, I mean, their identity, which was the same as they were similar to last year, is just as long as Paul George and Kawhi show up, I mean, they seem to be very stable. The only times that where they fall out is when those two are just not on their game. So, for example, like we were just talking about how Phoenix was number 1, Clippers were number 3. Kawhi had on that game today against the Bulls, he had 35 points. And Paul George had 28 points. So if you keep them at that range for points, like they're going to always be good. But the thing with the Clippers is we'll see how they do throughout the whole season. I know that this is Tyronn Lue's first year, so we'll see how they do with Tyronn Lue. I think they should be better with Tyronn Lue. That's my prediction. But we'll see. I mean, we never know at the end of the year how they all play out. I mean, we saw them fall apart last season, so who's to say it won't happen again? But I just kind of find it funny that it does happen, because it shouldn't, based on the amount of talent you have. But yeah, man, I mean, I think the Clippers, as long as they keep it going, they should be contending. I mean, I'm just wanting to see a Western Conference final between the Lakers and Clippers. That's all I really want to see. So that's my dream right there.
That's a New Year's resolution I want to see come true.
Yeah. They're very much how you describe the Rams, Alex. They're consistently inconsistent, this Clippers team, because they're on one hand blowing teams out, but then letting every single one of them back into the game, or they're getting blown out. So I'm sure they're still figuring it out. I'm sure Ty Lue is still, trying to figure out his rotation, and while preserving, Kawhi and Paul George, because as far as I know, Kawhi hasn't really sat out. There hasn't been any load management this year so far for him.
Yeah.
Even with that elbow that he took to the face, you would have thought that there's this perfect out for some load management time right there. And nope, he came back next day with the mask and he's still playing. So we'll see, man. I hope to see. Honestly, I don't even care. Whoever wants to be there, as long as the Lakers are there, I don't care who it is that they're facing.
Line them all up.
Yeah, exactly. Bring them up.
Oh man. So as we were talking earlier about the weight loss challenge we had at work and that blew up in our face, we're about to start another, and because we didn't learn from that, we're going to do another thing at work. Our first time ever venturing into fantasy hockey. How bad can this possibly go? It can go real bad, as you'll find out right now. NHL talk now. I mean, as a Kings fan, all three of us are Kings fans, various levels of King fandom here. But I mean, I guess I would probably be the most strongest. I would say maybe 1, 2, 3. I think that's fair to say. And even myself, as being the number one Kings fan on this podcast, have no idea who this Kings team is putting out there on the ice this year. There are so many young guys coming up, and it's going to be. And there's not really good projection. Really, there's not good projections for them this year. They're not expected to make the playoffs. But anything could happen in hockey. But not making the playoffs is probably going to be a fair thing that's going to happen for the Kings. They're not going to do well, and it's going to be bad like it was last year. Defensively, I'm excited that the Kings picked up a good defenseman in Oli Mata, but Jonathan Quick back there in net, man, he's too old. He needs to call it a career at this point, man. He does not have it anymore. I mean, if you look in Chicago, what just happened with Corey Crawford, longtime Chicago Blackhawk goaltender, decided to call it a career. Although there may be injuries with him, as being speculated in the media, but they're about the same age. They went through battles together through the 2012-2014 Kings Blackhawk series, and it's this Kings team is their window is closing. That they do not have a long window with Anze Kopitar, Drew Doughty. I mean, Dustin Brown is probably going to be his last year. This is his last contract year. Jeff Carter as well. And it's time for new blood, and we're going to start seeing new blood on this time around. So as Kings fans here, I think that's going to be the most exciting thing to watch, is seeing how these new guys look on the ice. Defensively, like I was saying, Tobias Bornfoot is going to be exciting to watch, as long with Matt Roy. Second line, a second defensive pairing. Drew Doughty is still on the first line. Drew Doughty, obviously, on the downswing too. There's a lot of speculation he may get traded, but he has such a big contract with like about 6 years still left on it. He's probably not going to get moved. He's kind of with us for life, which is, all those contracts were made right after the 2012-2014 Stanley Cups, and the GM was just so happy we won a Stanley Cup. Let's give him a 10-year contracts. 10-year contracts for you. 10-year contracts for you. 10-year contract. And then it's come back to blow up in our faces now. So, I mean, because we're about 6 years into these contracts, and these guys don't have it anymore. And I mean, the best thing to do would be to move them for younger guys and, gel with other young guys here. And it's going to be a tough one for us Kings fans, man. We're going to earn our King fandom this year with watching all these Kings games. But I'm excited Thursday. I'll be there Thursday night, opening night, man. I'm not going to lie. As much as I'm, kind of giving a despair party here about don't expect much from this Kings team this year, I will be there for opening night. The opening face-off, excited with my beer in hand, my pizza slice in the other hand. Go Kings, go! Go Kings, go! Go Kings, go!
Yeah,
go Kings, go, guys!
Go Kings, go!
Yeah. Are you guys excited to play fantasy hockey this year?
I am, mainly because the Kings are not going to make the playoffs. So I feel like I just want to see how much attention I could keep to hockey just through fantasy. and then be like, hey, how come this guy doesn't play for the Kings?
Yeah, I'm kind of dreading it, low key, to be honest, because not just because, as you mentioned, I absolutely am a fair weather hockey fan. I only pay attention to transactions that come through from the Kings wire. And I couldn't tell you, like, I had to check, like, is Henrik Lundqvist still in the league? Because you were talking about Jonathan Quick being like an old dude. I was like, last I checked, that dude was an old dude and he played forever. So, yeah, it was like, expect me to draft him, basically.
Lundqvist, I feel like I just saw it. What he had to retire too, or he's taking a leave of absence too. The King, dude, Henrik Lundqvist, New York Rangers, 2014 Stanley Cup loser. I mean, runner up. Let's be politically correct here.
Yeah. So
dude,
no, sorry. Go ahead.
Henrik Lundqvist, open heart surgery went well. Just so you know, that's what he's out with. So best of luck to Henrik Lundqvist. Got to say that, man. I knew he was out with an injury, I knew it was something serious, but I couldn't remember what. So in all fairness, best of luck on your health, Henrik Lundqvist. That's number one over hockey any day of the week, man. So you can't draft him, Sonny, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately. Maybe I will, just out of solidarity, but I'm dreading it also just because I don't know is it a daily line? I imagine it's like basketball where it's daily lineups.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because I'm in a fantasy basketball league right now and a couple, and it's just so time consuming, man. And it's like to be doing two sports at the same time is going to be nuts. So I'm dreading it. It's going to be more like charity. We're doing this for charity, right? Isn't this the
all money goes to not to the commissioner?
That's what I was told.
That's
what I was told. That's why I signed up. No, but we'll see, man. I'm relying on the algorithms that will be Yahoo Fantasy.
Are you gonna auto draft, dude?
I'm not gonna auto draft. I'm not gonna auto draft, but I'm gonna rely heavily on the recommendations, as my pick comes up. So there will be no sleeper picks in my. I don't believe so, but either way, man, I'm just along for the ride with this one.
Nice, man. As we all are, because even the commissioner of this league is along for the ride. This is his first time putting together a fantasy league. So you just know it's going to be terrible. About as terrible as those Anaheim Ducks are going to be down there in Anaheim. Oh, I just had to give them shit. I had to. As a Kings fan, I had to. They're playing Thursday night as well against Las Vegas Golden Knights. And John Gibson, the second coming of Christ, back in the... If you were to listen to those NBC announcers talk about John Gibson during the Kings Ducks second round playoff series, you would have thought that this guy was the next Henrik Lundqvist in net there. He was the best goaltender, but the Kings beat him. So
there's two things. There's one thing you could count on like clockwork. Alex may not know his hockey very well, but you best believe he's going to hate on whoever he should be hating on when he picks a team.
God damn right. I'd never miss a moment to shit on divisional rivals. I never miss a moment. And this year, it's a spread out division. And I believe I don't have it in front of me right now, but the divisions are sponsored this year by like Scottrade Bank and other various banks. I mean, this is an NHL cash grab.
Interesting.
I mean, it's just like, NHL, make your money any way you can. And I think this might be the first year, or they may be delaying it, where they're going to put more ads on the jerseys. So, football, soccer. So, I mean, I'm kind of used to it now. I mean, it's only a matter of time, and even the NBA has the, their ads. So I'm all about it. I don't care. It doesn't bother me as a fan. What do you guys think about ads on jerseys?
It's kind of normal now. I mean, I don't find it an issue.
Doesn't bother me, man. I mean, so long as the organizations are trying their best to vet the companies that they're partnering or associating with, and that it's not just mercenaries out there, just highest bidder. Then I'm cool with it. I mean, and even if they did that, whatever, fine. I don't have to buy the jersey, or wear it. So it's all good.
So you're saying you don't want Parlor to sponsor LAFC?
I'm just saying
you're not down with
I wouldn't buy the jersey. Not only am I not down with that, I definitely would not buy a jersey, right? With that affiliation just so boldly, out there.
Speak on it. As a fan, you have that right.
Yeah, I remember when they unveiled the YouTube sponsorship, it was like, really, this is what we're rocking with? I mean, a part of me, millennial wise, was cool with it because it's like, yeah, that's who you're speaking to. But the other part was, it was like, okay.
Well, what about the fact that they signed a deal with them to only broadcast their home games on?
That didn't bother me.
TV?
I mean, that made sense. Business wise, that made sense. It's like if they're gonna pony up that money and it's a two-way relationship there,
right?
It doesn't bother me.
I mean, don't you think though that it's kind of like the whole Dodgers and Lakers thing when it was exclusively on Spectrum. It's like you had to subscribe to Spectrum. So this was like LAFC. It's like taking it a whole step further. You have to subscribe to this online only platform to see their home games, which
their games, if you follow from the beginning, their games were still being carried by the Spanish broadcasters. So for those who wanted it in English, sure, I guess I could see how that was a problem. But for those of us who don't mind whatever language it's, I happen to be biased to it, but to me, it was no big deal. It's like, cool, I'll rock with it.
Yeah, that's always the funniest thing on Twitter. We're like, oh, what game is the LAFC game or on this MLS championship game on? And I always have to respond with "Tu dene," and they're like, what? What's that? It's like, oh, can't help you there, bro. Can't relate.
Yeah, Estrella. Yeah, it's every
Azteca TV.
Yep. Unimas, all
Unimas.
over. Man. Yep. So LAFC, man, we got to give them props for getting to the CONCACAF final.
And that's a wrap for the West Box Score podcast. Thanks for tuning in.
And that's it.
We'll be back.
That's it. They made MLS history.
See, I need to cut you off before that backhanded diss comes in right now, Eminem.
No, man.
All right, so...
As I said to you and to our good friend Richard at our day job, I was not rooting for LAFC, but I was not rooting against the LAFC either. I was as neutral as I can be.
And as the old adage goes, if you're not with us, you are therefore against us. So nice try there.
Okay, I guess. If that's the adage and if that's what we're going by, then yes, I might have been against you, but not really viciously rooting against you guys either. Right. I really wasn't. I would have been happy for MLS had LAFC won it because I could have always said, well, that's cool. CONCACAF Cup, awesome. Not an MLS Cup, but it's still something nice anyway. Nice. You got a nice cup to go with your plate. But I mean,
let me ask you this before you get brazy.
Here we go. Here we go.
Okay. We were supposed to unveil our new segment here, but we're going to hold off on this because it just made more sense to start it when MLS season starts.
Yes.
Yeah. So we will dedicate some time here to discuss what went down. But let me ask you this quick question. You as a self-proclaimed Barcelona fan, okay, from Europe, you're telling me that the UEFA Champions League is something to sneeze at, and that if Barca didn't win La Liga title, but they won UEFA Champions League, you'd be like, yeah, that's cute, but it's not a La Liga title. Is that what you're telling me?
Now, this is me being a less educated football fan than you are, okay? Where I would say, wow, they won Champions League. I would almost say that's bigger than winning La Liga title, right? That's me being an uneducated fan. Now, is it? I would ask you that.
Okay, this sounds like an interesting topic for our future segment that I will tackle because I do have my thoughts on it. Stay tuned. But I needed to pose that question because there is a faction out there of people who believe that the UEFA Champions League is the be all end all, and if you win that, it really doesn't matter what else you did in your domestic league or in your Copa tournaments if you have one. So,
and they're all talking on QAnon and Parler right now, so don't listen to them.
Are they though? Because I thought that shit was shut down.
I don't know, man. They might have had it downloaded already. Yeah. They're just using it on like on the old school Macintosh, the brick-sized computers with MS prompts. So that's how they're getting together still.
So yeah, stay tuned. But yes, it was a valiant effort by my LAFC squad. They almost pulled it off. They were 20 minutes away from glory, and it was just taken And props to Tigres for
It was that damn walkie-talkie at Piojo had. That's what it was. That's what led to spell disaster.
that was
for
the only
LAFC.
regret of our vacation was that like we didn't get to relish the moments that happened in that tournament between Club America and LAFC and Cruz Azul and LAFC in the build up to what was that final. That let me just say that Club America LAFC game was one of the best games I've ever witnessed of all soccer games. It had everything.
Yeah.
So, and I'm glad that LAFC was a part of it, and obviously they were the victors of it. But that thing was awesome. It almost immediately they were calling it a clásico right away after the game. They were saying like, this is the new international clásico right here. We want to see more LAFC Club America because of the shit that went down and how that game was played. I'm sure it was much to the dismay of Galaxy fans who don't know what a good clásico even looks like. But for those, as you mentioned, Alex, educated soccer fans, they were able to call this an instant clásico.
Would you call it a clásico 2.0? Since it was America versus Chivas 2.0?
No, they were calling this international clásico, you fool.
Oh, okay.
They were calling this, it wasn't Chivas 2.0. Get out of here. There you go. You started this podcast with mamadas and you're ending it with mamadas. There we go.
Yes, it all comes full circle always here. Wait. Before we go, I didn't get your guys' predictions on the Rams-Packers games. So, Rams-Packer games. So, Sonny, I'll go with you first. Do you think the Rams are going to pull it off, or do you think it's going to be Green Bay all the way?
Is Aaron Donald playing, and is he 100%?
Probably playing, probably not 100%.
I'm going to go, listen, there's two teams I have never cared for in my life as a 49er fan, okay?
Right.
The Dallas Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers. And then more recently, as I got older, obviously, because the rivalry being what it's been, the Seattle Seahawks. I hate to pick the fucking Packers. But if you're asking me to be objective, I think the Packers are going to win this game. I just think their defense is okay. The Packers defense is okay. Their offense is clicking right now, and has been. And Aaron Rodgers is looking like, that former quarterback that he was, former MVP. Who knows? Maybe he gets it this year after all again.
Okay.
So I picked the Packers, man. Sorry.
No, it's all good, bro. I mean, be unbiased as you can. And Donald, you try to be unbiased here. Who do you like, the Rams or the Packers? Your money's on the line here. Your fictional money's on the line here. Your Bitcoins are on the line.
Just based off the performance, I want to say the Rams. I just feel like they have a little bit more grit that I think is, something to account for. But I know that it's not easy going to Lambeau, but I will put my money. I'll put my money on the Rams to squeak out.
Oh, wait, hold up. Donald said based off of this performance, he's penalizing the Packers for having a bye week. He's penalizing. Although the Rams that has bit teams in the past, though, so there is a chance. So we'll see.
Ride the hot hand here. Let it roll. Bet it all on blue and white. Let's go. Come on.
Wait, 7-point favorite. So, Donald, should we have a friendly little West box score wager here? Because I know Alex is going to be good for it. That goes without saying here.
Because as much as you're a degenerate gambler, I am the dumbest gambler as of all time. As shown at our poker game the other night, I am the worst gambler ever. So, of course, I'm going to bet on my Rams, no matter how bad they are.
So, Donald, would you like the 7 points?
Yeah,
Alex
I'll take the Rams to cover.
Alex and I are going straight up. So fuck you, Alex. I'm not giving you any points because that's your team. You should believe in them no matter what. Donald, because you're not a Rams fan, I'll give you the 7 points that the Packers opened up with. So there you go. Stay tuned next week to see how this plays out.
Thank you for listening to the West Box Score Gambling Podcast here, as it always turns out to be. It always starts off with sports talk and it always ends with some kind of bet. Always. Oh, man. Well, thank you for downloading and listening to West Box Score this week. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at West Box Score. Follow Sonny and listen to his podcast, The Fox Crate Podcast, on Instagram and Twitter, or on Instagram at The Fox Crate Podcast. That's it for us this week. See ya.
Peace.
Later.